Today you're going to be working on some practice for your drawing unit. And some questions to start out with is, what is contour line? What is a 5-point value scale? And what is gradient shading? And more so, why is adding gradient shading to a line drawing important? So the first thing that we're going to do is work on creating the contour line. The contour line is just, so the first step is draw the contour line. It is the outer edge of the objects that you have in a drawing or a photo. And so here we are going to be practicing upscaling or enlarging from a 1-inch square to a 2-inch square, so a 1:2 ratio. You have this square segment that features the nose and a mouth, and I have already broken the 1-inch square into 4 new boxes to relate to the graphing method we used yesterday. And this 2-inch square also into 4 squares. So first, before we start, I'm just going to use this pen to go over the outer edge or the contour line of what I see in these boxes. So I went around the edge of the nose and nostrils. Now I'm following the contour of the top lip, the line that I see the bottom lip. There's only a little bit. I left a gap. There is no line there. I could connect them, but right now it's just all white space, so there's not an edge. And then the contour line where the top lip meets the bottom lip. So my goal now is to look at where this half of the nose is in this photo or sketch and draw it at a bigger scale in this box. So I'm really focusing on this one square and enlarging it to this square. So if I want to, I can actually go through and put 4 more squares on there, and then if I need to with my pencil, I could sketch those here. That can help those of you translate the position of where this is. So I'm going to make a mark, and then sketch where I see this. Here the curve is about here, comes up close to the edge but not too close, and then it's about halfway or midway, and so then I will sketch that. And then I can move into the other boxes. So right now it looks really large because it is. I'm going to look at this angle and then maybe change it a little bit, so you can come back and you don't have to erase a lot, because if we were to shade this, that right there would blend into some of the gradient value. You would go through and you would complete both of these in contour line. I'm going to trace over the contour line of the eye here so that you can see that edge as well, so you can see where my focus is. So I see a dark line here, and then I see a line here, and then I see a very light line there. It's light because there's shading around it. And then I'm going to trace around the iris, and then part of the pupil. Here the black of the pupil blends into the shading, so I'm not going to complete that edge. And then now my goal is to enlarge that the contour line. So you can trace over this, work on placement. And you can see that I'm being very sketchy, because we are going to end up shading that in, so those sketch marks will disappear. So that comes pretty far out. There's a little bit of white space, so I'm paying attention to the negative space. Seems to curve there, seems to hit right about here. And then I know that I need to make this look like a perfect circle. And then this is right in the center. It's like equal space all the way around. And so paying attention to that. So that is now scaled up. My next step is to work on the 5-point value scale. So I have a worksheet that you will need to practice matching 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you're just going to take your regular pencil and you're just going to start shading to fill those in. So if you can imagine, you need to stay inside those edges. This is a very, very light value. You can soften that with your finger a little bit. you're trying to match the likeness, so I would need maybe another layer. And as I build those layers, I'm just staying in one place longer, just like what we did when we practiced shading with colored pencil. You will fill in the entire rectangle to match what you see here. I'm just showing you a little bit. And then you're not needing to work on this through pressure. It's just layers. It's a lot easier to erase or lift some value too if you get too dark if you work through layers. This one I would layer a lot, and then I may press a little bit harder because it is solid, but there is a special graphite pencil, a 4B pencil. You've used it in your previous assignment, and then you can put another layer of that to match those dark values. So you would complete this, and then step 3 is to apply the gradient value. A gradient is a transition from dark to light. Now these have lines in between. When you start shading here, you'll have the dark that fades to light, which is a gradation, a dark to light scale. And that will add more volume. This is the only one that you'll need to shade. So once you complete the value scale, you come here and you try to work on matching the values that you see so that your eye will have these same gradations or these same values that match your photo. And then you will have life in your piece. If the white of the eye gets shaded over with gray, then you just start to lightly skim with your eraser to lift out some of those highlights. So that's all I did, is to come through and to color with my eraser. So the eraser creates lights and whites, and this you will build to shade.